Hello everyone, myself Saurabh Maheshwari and I welcome you all to the ongoing lecture series on C programming. In this video, we will see how to handle various files in the secondary storage through the help of C programs. The files are very important for the purpose of storage in the storage of data in the secondary storage. We know that there are two types of storage available in the computer system. That is, one is the primary storage and second one is the secondary storage. Generally, the CPU direct communicates with the primary memory, okay, and the primary memory is normally volatile. One of the most popular example of the primary memory is your RAM. So anything that is required by the CPU for the purpose of processing is saved in the primary memory, but this primary memory is volatile. So the content, one of the feature of the primary memory is to be volatile. It means that all the content of the primary memory lost when the power goes off. Okay, and if you want to, if you again bring on the power, then you have to again bring the data or create the data again in the RAM to get the old state back. Okay, so suppose the programs that we have been running till now, we have been asking for the user input and having some data inside the main program. So all the data and instructions which are data and instructions which are used by the program, which are used by the program, data and instructions which are used by the program need to be inside the main memory for the purpose of CPU to process it. Okay, but due to this problem, every time you when you run the program, every time we run the program, we need to give same input again. Suppose I need to give a array of 50,000 for the input in the program. So do you think that this is a very easy task for the for, for the user to give this much of input, and the time of the input will also be very high, which would be user dependent, because if the user is not proper trained, so it would take a very long, very large time to give the input, so your performance of the program is going to decrease. So CPU is a very fast device. Okay, in the gigahertz range it works. CPU is very fast device, and this device needs so much data for the processing. And if we give data very slowly with the help of user input through the console, okay, and during the runtime with the help of user only, so this data would be very slow, data speed would be very slow, and most of the cycles of the CPU will get waste. Okay, so this is one of the reason that we should not, why we should not depend on the user input, manual user input. Okay, so the one of the method that can be here for the C programming is to store the input inside some files, input data inside some files. Okay, and whenever the program run, bring that bring that data files to the primary memory, and when the process completes, again go to the, again store the latest data to the secondary memory. So how the process will run? Right now the process that we do is based on this CPU and primary memory only, because all the data that we give as a user input during current programs are exist in the primary memory, and as soon as the program terminates, all the contents of the primary memory are lost. And if you run the program again, okay, so rerun program require fresh input. Okay, and this can be very tedious task to provide fresh input every time for the program if the number of inputs is very high. Okay, and also there is lack of storage of inputs and outputs. What all the outputs that we have received, suppose you have run a program at your home and you want to show your supervisor that I have made this program. Now the program takes 1 hour completely to show the output, and suppose you do with the normal method. So what will happen when you want to show, you have run a program at your home and you got the proper output, now you want to show to your supervisor, Okay, now in front of supervisor, you have to spend 1 hour, okay, to reach to the output. So that is going to be very difficult because this much time is not available to anyone that he or she may wait for your output. Okay, so what is the process that we can store the input and output in the files? So we will have some files. Okay, these files will be inside the secondary storage, and these files will have our input to the program. This is our program which is inside CPU, running CPU. Okay, and files will go for the input, and the output that will again be stored in the files for the purpose of the later usage. Okay, so files are very important for the programming. Obviously anything cannot run directly from the secondary memory, so the files first files the data from the files is first fed to the primary memory. Okay, first fed to the primary memory, and then it is fed to the, so it is first fed to the primary memory. This is your primary memory. Okay, and this first fed to the primary memory, and the output, and then it is fed to the CPU. Then CPU performs on it, and it gives the result to the primary memory. And when the program closes, this result gets stored in the files, respective file. Okay, so this is the problem, and this is the problem that we face during the normal execution of the program, where the input is taken from the user. Okay, and the input is user dependent. Fine. So why we require files? So we have the secondary storage. So secondary storage is a large storage. Okay, so this is your completely secondary storage. Now this large storage is converted into some identifiable set of bytes. Okay, identifiable set of bytes. Okay, I am terming it as identifiable set of bytes. Okay, so these set of bytes together termed as file. File has their name. They can be opened. Okay, open is simply meaning knowing their base address. Open is simply knowing their base address. Okay, and they can be closed after use, and there are other operations also that we will see in some moment. Okay, so in this way the complete secondary storage is divided into some blocks, some identifiable blocks which have their unique name, and they can be identified differently. Okay, each file has some extension. Okay, extension is simply the type of the file, to denote the type of the file, and this type of the file can also depict its usage. Okay, so now let us proceed on the practical files of the C programming. Now before going to the files, let us understand the concept of streams in the C programming. Now what happens here, that a program or program which is running inside compiler, this is the program, and it is running inside the compiler. Now if it wants to communicate with input or output, okay, so what are the input devices there? Suppose this is our input device 1, which can be a printer. Okay, this is output device 1. Okay, output device 2, which can be your desktop, or I can say screen. Okay, now there can be another device, that is, this is your file. Okay, file which is on the secondary storage. Fine, and this is also taken as device 3. Okay, so there are multiple device. A program may need to communicate with the multiple devices. So the communication of the program with the devices is facilitated by the compiler with the help of streams. So streams are nothing but some logical buffers which are used as these communication channels between the devices and the program, and these streams are maintained by the help of compiler. Okay, it is important to understand that these streams are used as the channel between the program which is under compiler and the device. Okay, so this is the device. Suppose the device is the file. So any data that is to be transferred from program to the file will be transferred with the help of this stream. And if the data is to be taken from the file and to the program, this is also going to be taken from this stream. So this stream is bidirectional, and this stream is created every time a communication with the file is to be established. So these are some features of the stream. These are textbook lines of the complete reference C programming book, and these are can be used as the formal definition of the stream. The concept I have explained to you. The file pointer is another important requirement to use the files. That is, it is every time when a stream is created, the file, every time a stream is created, a file pointer is also created with the stream. Okay, now this file pointer identifies the beginning of the file. Okay, initially it identifies the beginning of the file, and it is also used to scan through the file. Okay, so this file pointer may be considered as a pointer to file. Okay, and different it is, since it is a pointer, so it is going to hold some address, and initially this address depends on the opening mode, that whether the file pointer will start from here, whether it will start from here, or it is going to start from any other place. This file pointer can also be treated as a, since we know that the secondary storage is in the form of disk, so it can also be taken as some pointer or some disk access mechanism which is able to move for the random access. Okay, so this file pointer can be moved for random access like the head of the disk. Okay, so this is the there are some uses of file pointer. So every time we want to create a we want to access a file data with the help of file stream, then we create a file pointer of the type file. This file is something that is type def of structure file that we saw in the structure mechanism. Okay, then it points to the information that defines various things about file. Okay, apart from pointing towards the current address of the file, this file pointer also has information like name, status, what is the current position in the file. Okay, so anytime all the streams are associated with this kind of file pointers, its file streams are there, so it will be associated with the file pointer. And if the file we want to close the stream, we have to close this file pointer. Okay, so we will see how to access the file pointer, how to create a file pointer, how to do various operations with the help of file pointers in the upcoming slides. Let us see how to open a file in C programming. Okay, so let us see different methods of opening a file. So opening is simply done with the help of this function fopen. Okay, now this fopen function takes two parameters, that is two strings it take. Okay, the first string is about the name of the file, name of file. Okay, then it is along with the extension. Fine, it is not necessary to put the extension, but if you want a specific file with the extension, then you have to write the extension also in this double quotes. Here you can see that a file type pointer has been created, which is pointer fp. This file structure is defined in stdio.h, so that is why you not need to declare a new structure for the file. So this file type pointer, that is pointer fp, this fp pointer is created of the file type. Now to open a file, we have various modes. So this is, in this place we write the various modes. Various modes are like this. So every mode will be written in a double quote. Okay, so what are the different modes of the file? Why this file is to be opened, required to be opened? Okay, we saw that the program needs access to the file. Okay, so for this it needs to create a stream. Okay, this stream would be created with the help of this file open. So anytime we open this file with the help of file pointer, a new stream with the file is created, and that particular stream will be used to access the file in this particular mode, in the given mode. So we can see that there are various modes available. That is R mode. R mode is specifically for the reading of the file. If you don't want to change the content of the file and only want to read the file, so then you are going to use the reading mode. And then only writing mode. There is a difference between the reading and writing mode. That is, in reading mode, a file need to exist earlier. Okay, a file must exist, must exist. It means if you want to open a file in read mode, that file should already exist. If this does not exist, then it is going to produce an error. Okay, and what kind of error can be produced? It produces that fp equals to null. Okay, so anytime if fp is not allocated to the file pointer, to the address towards the file, then it is returned as null. So we have checked here with the help of this if condition that if fp equals to null, it means the file has not properly opened or the compiler could not open the file. Okay, and so we exit the program because the file could not be opened properly. So what can be the possible error while reading? That the file must exist. If you are trying to read a file which does not exist in your secondary storage, then it is going to produce an error. Okay, and in the reading mode, if this is a file, so if this is a file and this is your program, so if the file pointer is created in read mode, then the file pointer starts from the beginning of the file. Okay, so this is the thing that you have to remember, that the initial position is at the beginning of the file. Okay, in the write mode, you are trying to open a file which you want to write. Okay, but here, since it is a write mode, so if the file does not exist, so this does not produce an error and fresh file is created. Fresh file is created every time, is created every time. Okay, so for write mode, you have to remember that it creates fresh file every time. It means if you want to open a file in the write mode, you have to make sure that its earlier content is not useful to useful to you now, because when it opens a file in the write mode, there may be three conditions. The file initially may not exist, so it will create a new file with empty contents. Fine. If the file is already there and it has some contents, then what will happen? It is going to erase the contents of the file, and it also starts from the beginning of the file. So the position of fp position of fp in the beginning of the file. Okay, and it always creates an empty file. Fine. So this is also a disadvantage of write mode, that if you want to regularly update your data and while keeping your earlier data also, then it is not suggested to use write mode, because write mode always opens a file and empties it. Okay, it flushes all the content of the all the previous content of the file. Fine. So to use the write mode, we have to be very careful. We should use the write mode only if the earlier content in the file is not required anymore. Okay. So if you want to keep that data that is previously available in the file and want to add the new data in the file, this is called append operation. This is called append operation, and the mode that is going to be used here is A. A stands for append mode. So append mode does not flushes the previous content of the file, and it starts the file pointer from the end of the file. So this is the end of the file. So FP would start here. Okay, so the next content that is going to be newly added would start from the this particular file pointer, and the size of the file is definitely going to increase with the help of append. Okay, now these are the three modes when you want to access the file in the form of text. Okay, so there can be two modes of the stream. Okay, here you can see that there can be two modes of the stream, that is text mode and binary mode. So here the content that can be read and can be write that in the form of text, this is in the form of ASCII characters, and if it is in the form of binary, so it is in the form of bytes. Okay, so in these two modes, any file can be accessed. So these were the three modes of read, write, and append in the text mode. Now we have the same three modes in the form of binary. In binary, the any data which is put inside the file is not readable with the help of normal text editors. So if you want to read the data written in the file, you should use the text mode. And if you want to store the data in the binary format, so it is going to look like some random bytes. So this will not be the anyone who will look to the data is not going to interpret what is written inside the file. So that is the reading, writing, and append mode in binary. Okay, then we have this R plus, W plus, and A plus mode. These three modes are modes which allow additional functionality other than their basic functionality. That is, the file is available for read and write both. Okay, but in this case also a file must exist before applying read plus mode. Okay, in write plus mode, always a fresh file will be created. In append mode, previous file would be created, and read and write both operations can be performed there. Okay, so for major applications in the text mode, you can use this A plus for making big projects. Okay, Now, apart from this, we also have three modes, that is R plus B, W plus B, and A plus B. B stands for binary. So all the functionalities of R plus, W plus, and A plus are same, but that is going to be, the data is going to be in the binary or in the form of bytes. There is no existence of individual characters. They are collection of bytes. Okay, so that cannot be interpreted with the help of text editor. So this is the example that we have seen here. We have created the file pointer, then we open the file. You can change the mode here. Okay, so the different mode, the file can be opened in different modes. So this is the error clause which can check whether the file is properly opened or not. And once you are done with your work, in the end you have to free the stream created, so to save the space of your memory. So you have to close the file pointer. This will free your file from the compiler. Okay, so now your file is available with the secondary storage also. So in this method, in this way, you can create a file, store the data in the file, and next time the file would be available in the secondary storage. You can see that this file test.txt is created with the help of write mode, and it is located over here, right? And this text file can be used for the uh, upcoming programs, or even the same program can use the previously stored data for the different purpose next time. Okay, so how many types of file access are processed are possible? That is, we can access the files with the help of character by character. Now we know the concept that there would be a file, it is going to have some bytes into it, and there will be a file pointer. This file pointer can move throughout the file for the random access. Okay, and this file pointer can be also available in the end in the append mode to add some more data in the file. Okay, so this is the concept of file pointer. Now we can access the data of the file from the file pointer, but this can be done in the four different ways. That is, we can access character by character. This would be done when there is the text file. Okay, so this is for the text file. Fine. So in the text file, the data stored can be accessed character by character, or it can be stored character by character. Or other than that, we also have a method which is used for storage of the complete strings inside the file, and also access directly the strings from the file. Then we have formatted input and output from the file. Okay, so this is also text mode, and this is also text mode where some formatted input and output is done. Okay, now what do you mean by formatted input output? It means they will be stored in the file, but they will maintain their format. That is, if it is an integer, it is going to maintain it. If it is a character, it is going to maintain it. And if it is a float, it is going to maintain it. Okay, and if it is a string, it is going to maintain the format. Okay, so similarly it maintains for long and others. Okay, so how does it differs from character by character and complete string? In this, even if you store one, it is going to store as a character. If you store two, it is going to store as a character. But here, if you store one, it would be, if you here if you store one, it would be integer. Here if you store a, it is going to be character. And here if you store 4.5, it can keep its format 4.5, it keep in format as float. Okay, so in the string and character, everything is treated as text and in formatted input and output from file. Yes, it is a text mode, but here all the data that is in the file or accessed from the file have its specific format. Okay, apart from that, we have some files which can be accessed in the binary mode. In the binary mode, we see that all the data is treated as a collection of bytes. Okay, so either block of bytes is written to the file, or some block of bytes is taken from the file, is read from the file. Okay, so in this way, we will see different methods available, different functions available in file handling of the C programming to do the file access in these methods. So first of all, we will see how to read and write character from a file. Okay, so there are two methods, there are two functions available in this C programming, that is fputc and fgetc. Fputc is like putting a character to the file. Okay, so this is towards file, okay, to the file, and this is from the file. Okay, fine. So fputc is putting a character to the file, and fgetc is getting a character from the file. Okay, now earlier we used this function gettS and putS. Okay, we use gettS for the input, but this input was from the console stream. Okay, so gettS was from the console stream. Okay, so console is what? Your keyboard inputs. Fine. So anything we want to, this was also a stream. Okay, this was also a stream, and the anything that needs to be taken from the stream was like this, was from getters, and anything we want to again write to the stream, write to the console, that we use puts. Okay, so similarly anything we want to put in the file or write in the file, we will write it with the help of fputc, and if we want to access anything, we will access with the help of fgetc. You can notice here that this fputc, okay, put a character, but it is written in the integer. Okay, so since integer has 4 bytes of space, okay, or in some compilers it is of 2 bytes, but for character only 1 byte, that is the lower byte. Okay, lower byte of the data of this particular integer ch only written to the file. Okay, you need not to get confused with this notation. This is only for the purpose of matching to the format. Okay, but otherwise it would work similarly as a character. Okay, now we will see use of this fgetc and fputc with the help of this practical example. Here we have created a file pointer fp. Our objective is to take input from user and store the take input from the user of the number of characters it want to enter, and store all the characters to the file. Okay, so what we are going to do is simply create a file pointer, and we will create this file test.txt in write mode. Okay, so in write mode a fresh file would be created even if this file exists, so that all the contents, previously written contents, would be flushed from the file, and then we will check that whether the file is properly opened. Okay, so that if file is not opened properly, it is going to return null. So in that case program will exit. Now we take input from the user about the number of integers, which is like this. User has input that it want to enter 7 characters. Okay, now then we flush stdin. This flush is also a file handling function. Okay, so which is used to clear the standard input stream. Okay, so stdin is the stream. This is also an stream. Okay, this is also an stream which is for input. Okay, input from console. Okay, so that enter that is given after the carriage return. This is also called carriage return. The enter or the carriage return which is entered after the 7. To prevent this going to read by get che, we flush the standard input. Okay, now for the particular given integer, we take character by character input from the user, and we put that character to the file pointer. Now here you have to note one thing, that we have incremented I plus plus to count the number of characters which are taken from the user and written to the file, but we have not incremented this fp. I told you that this fp in the write mode starts from here. Okay, and if you write one character, so the initially suppose this is s is stored here. So if you are going not to change, if you not change fp, okay, and again write another character, so it should overlap the same byte. Okay, but why it is not happening, why I have not done this fp plus plus? Okay, why I have not done this? Because this f put c or f get c, these are auto increment functions. Okay, so these are auto increment functions. Okay, now what are auto increment functions? It means they automatically increment the file pointer. Okay, so what happens when the first input is written in the file with the help of this ch is written to the place where file pointer is pointing. So it is written over here, and this file pointer is incremented automatically to the next available space. Okay, so in this way, this f put c, the next character is here, so and the file pointer is incremented to the next place. In this way all the characters are written in the file. Okay, and in the end we close the file. So this is the content of the file are stored in this way, and you can write the content your character by character. Fine. Now in the right side of the program of the slide, you can see a program where we have used the file in the write mode, read mode. Okay, so the same notations are there to define a file, and we open that file, and this file is associated with this file pointer. So what will happen, the file that was earlier created, because the name of the file is same, if both of the programs are in the same directory of the this file, so the same file would be accessed by the both programs. So this is the content written in the file, suppose. Okay, and in the read mode the file pointer starts from the beginning. Okay, if it is not able to open the file, it is going to return null and it would close the program. Then we ask from the user that how much input is required. Okay, so the same thing is done. User inputs suppose 4. Okay, so now the data was of 7 bytes was stored here, and now user only wants to read the 4 characters out of the 7 characters which were entered. Okay, so how it is going to do, it is going to count the number of characters read, and you can see here how f get c work. Okay, f get c take inputs a file pointer, so this file pointer is given to it, and f get c is also auto increment. Okay, so auto increment means it starts fp from here and moves this to ch, and then ch we print on the screen. Then this fp is auto increment to a, then this a is moved to ch, and this ch is printed with the help of this printf, and a is printed. In this way you can see that with the help of this while loop and again using this f get c, we can access each character of the file. Okay, and this is accessing a file character by character. Now let us understand some more information about the file, which is the end of the file. Because here we only accessed 4 characters, so we did not reach to the end of the file, because the file also had a b h. Okay, and in the end it has a special constant available, that is eof. Eof stands for end of file. Okay, so this is a constant which has been defined as a preprocessor in the file structure, for the file structure in stdio.h, that is that denotes the end of the file. So in the file, in every file, the in the end a constant is added, which is eof. Okay, so a file can also be read by reaching to this eof. Okay, because we know that the file would end at eof, so we can scan the file character by character, and as soon as we get eof, we can know that we have read the complete file. Okay, so in the case of reading, if you want to read complete file, then you can use this eof for the reading instead of m. Okay, so remaining all things are same. We have used the file in reading mode. Then we have read the first character, so that is fp is here. Now it is read. Suppose s is written here, so fp is incremented here. Now we will check that whether it is end of file. So if it is not end of file, we will print the this character, and then we will move the file pointer forward. Okay, so in this case next will be a, and similarly it is going to read all the data one by one, character by character, and in the end fp is going to reach to end of file, and when it will reach to end of file, this file loop will get false, and this will stop, and we are able to read and print the contents of whole file. Okay, and in the end we can close the file. So here you can see the contents of the file text.txt is printed like this. Okay, there is another alternate for the same purpose, that is there is a function which is called feof. Okay, feof. Okay, and in feof we return fp. No, sorry, we input fp. It returns two types of values. It keeps on returning 0 until the file pointer reaches to the end of the file, and when it returns 1, okay, it means the file pointer has reaches to eof. Okay, so if we have used this not operator to ensure that we keep on running this loop while it is 0, so 0 negation would be 0, negation would be 1. So this loop is going to be running till we don't receive the file pointer. When we will receive file pointer, so this function is going to return 1, and if not is going to return 0. It means the while loop will be false. Okay, and in other cases the while loop would be true, and with this format we can print the character. Okay, so you can notice here both the conditions, these both are optional conditions for each other, so you can use any of the condition depending on your need. Okay, there is no difference between these conditions, you can use any one of them. Now let us see how to read and write file as strings. So in the previous slide, we saw that we read and write the file in the help of with the in the mode of characters only. Here we will read and write the file as complete string. Okay, and this program has been made like this, that whenever the user enters a return, okay, a carriage return, CR stands for carriage return. Carriage return is nothing but your normal enter. So as user is going to keep input a string, these strings will be stored in the file. You can see here and when the user is going to input a enter again, okay, an empty enter, so this program will stop. Okay, so this enter simply puts it is a null character, so the string is null here. So in this case, this null character is checked. So anytime if the string is null character, the program is going to stop. Okay, we have opened the file with the help of write mode. So a fresh file will be created. So our earlier file, which was text.txt, okay, it empties and the fresh content would be added here. Okay, here we ask the user to enter a string. We take a string from the user as input, then we add a backslash n to the string to change the line. Okay, this is backslash n is input everywhere to change the line, to write all the strings input. Okay, write the strings input in the new lines. Okay, by default this s by default this getters and fputs. Okay, getters and fputs does not places any backslash n in the string. Okay, so if you will not write this statement, all these strings would come in a single line. Okay, then we saw that we use fputs, that is str and fp. Okay, the format is like this. You have to write the string here. Okay, the string that you want to input is here, and this is your file pointer. Okay, so this string is going to be stored in the file pointer, and obviously this is also, these both functions are also auto increment functions. It means when you enter a string, the file pointer will move after the string. Okay, and we return finally 0 from the main. Okay, so in this way we can write the strings to the file. Here two important things you have to note, that we have opened the file, and we have used this directly equals to null in the same if clause. Okay, so this should not be a confusion to you. And after that you have to observe this fputs, where a string is taken and it is written at the file pointer. This file pointer is auto increment, so the next string through this loop, okay, till empty string is entered, so these all the strings would get input to the file. Okay, so this is how fputs works. So fgetters also works like that. Let us see it like that. Okay, with the help of another example. Here you can see that we have used use the same program again to take input the string till here. Okay, so all the strings are taken in the input and stored in the file like this. Okay, three strings were taken, one, two, and three strings were taken, and this was empty enter. So this program inputted three strings to the test file. Okay, here we have given no extension. You can observe there, no extension. It means extension is not compulsory. Okay, but if it is not a text mode, then your text editor is not going to read the file. Okay, if you don't put a text inside that. Okay, after this we rewind. We use another function, that is rewind fp. So what happened, fp initially started from here, and after writing this fp came here, then after writing this fp came here, and after writing this fp is here. Okay, so if you want to again read all the content of the file, you have to reset. Okay, you have to reset this fp to here. Okay, so what we run rewind fp. Okay, so rewind fp initializes the fp again from the starting of the file. Okay, so reset the file position indicator to the start of the file. Okay, in this case we again read the file with the help of file not file end of file function. Okay, and we get fgetters str 79 and fp. Now why this 79 is there, because you have to tell that how many characters you need to access. So since the size is 80 and the last one would be the null character, so we are going to access the 79 characters from the file pointer, and then we will move forward to the text string. So we can use fgetters to input to read the strings from the file one by one. Okay, so this is the method of accessing the file in the form of strings. Now we will see how to access the file and write the data and read the data in the formatted input output. So we have like printf and scanf. We have two functions here, fprintf and fscanf. Fprintf is used to write to file, and it is used to read from file. Okay, scanf is read from file. Fine. So the difference here is simply that every data that is going to be added to the file would have a specific format. All would not be characters and all would not be strings. Okay, this looks like a string, but individually they all have existence. That this is integer, this is character, this particular thing is a float, and this is a string. Okay, similarly there is existence of all of these. Fine. Okay, so in this way, this fprintf is used for writing to the file. So here we open the file and it is in the write mode, so it is going to be empty. We have two strings there. Okay, we also have some data in integer format, character format, float format, and string format. The syntax follows that initially we have to give the file pointer. The only thing that you need to remember is the syntax. Okay, and a working example of all the functions. Okay, because many times in examination it can be asked to you that what are the various functions of to access the file or to handle the file in C programming, and explain with the help of examples. So the all the examples that I am giving here, you can use them, you can remember them to write there as an answer. Okay, so this is the use of fprintf. We have run fprintf two times, and we have also entered a backslash n in the end of str. So that is why a backslash has caused to change the line. Okay. Otherwise, if you have not added this, so they both would come in a same line. Okay. So in this way, this fprintf is used to write to the file. One important thing that you have to remember, that don't put spaces between these format specifiers, because that is going to put space between your uh, between your 70 or all the different elements that you write in the file. But when you read, this looks good because storing in this format looks good than this format. Okay, but there is a problem. When you will try to read this is going to read as integer, but this space is going to read as a character. Okay, so this these spaces will also get read by your format specifiers. So that is why it is not suggested to use the spaces when you use fprintf and fscanf. Now let us see use of fscanf. Now in the same file which we wrote earlier, now we are trying to read that file and print it with the help of printf. So we have used fscanf. Now here you have to observe difference between fscanf and fprintf, that in fprintf direct values are given. Okay, values are given for the various variables or formats. Okay, here since you want to store the value into the variables, in this the direction was like this. Okay, towards the file. Here the direction is from the file. Okay, so in this file, in this format, and to this variable, this is like this: from file fp to format specified and to variables. Okay, and here it is like from variables in specified format and to file fp. Okay, so this was the direction of operation of f f printf. Okay, and this is the direction of operation of f scanf. Okay, and what we scan is in the variables, and we can check that whether these variables got the values or not. So we also printed them. You can see that there has been no values assigned to the variables. So when we print this prints for the first printf, and this is for the second printf. Okay, so f scanf, first scanf takes value from here, and second scanf takes value from here. Okay, so in this way you can write various function, various data in the specific formats. Okay, so now what is the advantage of this particular method? The advantage of this particular method is that you should use this method whenever you want to keep the data in its original format. Okay, when you write in the character by character or string by string format, the original format of the data loses. Okay, they all are stored in the form of characters only, but here you can keep their format. Since you entered them in the same order, you have to follow the same order of the format specifier that you use during the fprintf, and you can see the same format and the same order if followed. Then you can retrieve the data back to the variables. Okay, and when you retrieve the data, you can process these variable for the other processes. Suppose you want to take input of the array. Okay, so you can, what you can do, you can create a file. Okay, and in the file first you can have the number of the integers, and then you can have the integers inside the file. Then you can use %d format to take input all of them in AI. Okay, in this way you can enter the values written in the array. Okay, values written in the file to the array. Suppose these are 50,000 values, so this is going not to take so much time. That was time taken from the user. Okay, because time, right, taking input of 50,000 element from the user will take very last time. Okay, but if you store these 50,000 elements in a file for one time and take input through this. Okay, so what you can do, you can simply write a loop for I equals to 0, I is less than 50,000, and I plus plus. And suppose if you have everything inside the file, what you need to do, you only need to do f scanf, and inside f scanf you will simply write fp. Okay, and you will write %d, and you will write ampersand ai. Okay, now in this way your array of 50,000 element can be created in a fraction of a second. Okay, with the help of cpu. Fine. And if you want to run this program even 100 times, the same input will be given and user need not to take pain. So these are the benefits of the file handling. Now, we can see also the concept of binary file reading and writing. This is the last mode of reading and writing to the file with fread and fwrite. The difference between previously learned functions is simply that earlier were all creating text files. It means the data that we entered is stored in the form of text inside the file, but here a complete set of bytes would get stored. Okay, here you can see that we took three elements here. Okay, three elements here, and we opened the file in the wb plus mode, that is right in the binary mode, and read and write both is available. Okay, so what we have done, we have fwrite, we have used fwrite. Now fwrite has four parameters to be taken. Okay, so it is simply, the first parameter is always the address of the variable, address of variable to write. Okay, to write or read. Okay, so it is the byte from or to data kahan se uthana hai. Okay, the data, the byte from which data to be taken, this byte is the place. Okay, so it means if it is ampersand d, so it is the base address of the d variable. Okay, it is the place from where the bytes would be taken to write to the file. Okay, so the order is like this, the bytes from here is taken, and these many bytes would be taken, and this option is always 1 for the indication, and then these number of bytes are returned to the file pointer, and these functions are also auto increment. So this fp is going to increment automatically by this size of double. Okay, so how it is going to work, that is this suppose this is your file. So what will happen, this ampersand d, suppose this ampersand d has 12.23 as value, and since we know that double is stored in 8 bytes, so this 8 bytes of data, this not the value, this 8 bytes of data, okay, would be taken, and the 8 bytes, beginning 8 bytes of the file pointer would be written like this here, and the file pointer would shift to the end of these 8 bytes. Then this integer, the integer takes 4 bytes. Okay, so next 4 bytes would be this integer value. Okay, but these would be bytes. You can also see here that when we open this binary file, the binary written file in the text editor, we see some abrupt values. Okay, these look like some garbage values. Why garbage values? Because these are only the bytes, and this text editor cannot interpret these bytes. So these can only be accessed by the help of fread. Okay, so what we do, we rewind the fp. Okay, so what happens, the fp again comes to the in beginning of the file, and there what we do, we use the file pointer and read first 8 bytes, and then put the 8 bytes to the d. Okay, and in the end we print this di. Okay, and di, and I have written one here, it is l. Okay, this is l. Okay, so this is l. Fine, the l value is 123023, 123023. Okay, that is going to be printed over here. Okay, so that you can see here that fwrite and fread work in opposite to each other, and it is also to be noted that the data that is written through fwrite can only be read by fread. Why? Because fread and fwrite both work in the byte mode or binary stream mode. Fine. So in this way, they can only read the byte-wise data. Although you see that the data looks like garbage, but it is able to produce the same data that we given as input. Okay. So it means that the interpretation of these random bytes, the garbage bytes, is the same as the data, but only the fread function could read it. Okay. So fwrite works like that, that the value from the variable in the this particular size goes to file pointer, and in fread value from the file pointer of this particular bytes goes to the uh, goes to the variable. Okay, so fread and fwrite are the most important functions which are used to make the practical applications related to the file handling. So this is all about file handling. This completes your chapter of file handling. We can also look for a practical application of the file handling where some data from the file can be taken, some database can be created, and we need not to input the data every time when we start the program. We can take the input directly from the file. Okay, so that we will see in the next video. And till then, this is all about file handling. In the file handling,